You just got your PSA test results. The number is higher than last year. You stare at the screen a little longer than usual, feeling that quiet rush of worry in your chest. You think, I've been eating healthy. I feel fine. What's going on? That small number suddenly feels like a big problem. You try to sleep, but your mind keeps spinning. You open your phone, scroll through articles, and read stories that make you even more anxious. The words, prostate cancer risk, show up again and again. You tell yourself not to panic, but deep down, you can't stop wondering if something's wrong. Here's the truth most men never hear. A higher PSA doesn't always mean your prostate is in trouble. Sometimes it's just reacting to what you did the day or two before your test. Maybe you had a heavy meal. Maybe you took a new supplement or went for a long bike ride. Maybe you didn't sleep well. Harmless things, right? But they can quietly raise your PSA, making the number look worse than it really is. And when that happens, men worry for weeks, when all they needed was a few simple adjustments. The good news? You can avoid false spikes easily once you know the habits that cause them. So in this video, we'll count down 8 everyday mistakes that can raise PSA and how to fix each one naturally. Stay until the end because number 3 surprises even doctors. And number 1 has nothing to do with your prostate at all. Let's start with John. He's 62, still working part-time, and loves weekend bike rides. Last spring, he took his annual PSA test, and the number jumped from 3.4 to 6.1. He froze. He thought something serious was happening. But when he went to see his doctor, she asked one simple question. "John, have you been cycling recently?" He laughed and said, "Yeah, every morning this week." The doctor smiled and said, "Then your prostate's just tired, not sick. Give it a few days and test again." He waited, rested, and retested the next week. His PSA was back to normal. It turns out small things can make a big difference. And once you know what to avoid, your next test can reflect your true health. Before we get into the list, a quick reminder. This video is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice, and it's not meant to replace professional care. Always talk to your doctor before making any changes to your lifestyle, supplements, or medication. Every man's body is unique, and your healthcare provider is the best person to interpret your PSA results. The goal here is simple: to help you understand how everyday habits can affect your PSA test, so you can walk in calm, prepared, and confident. And if you'd like a simple one-page guide to keep on hand, I've created a free PSA prep checklist. It lists everything you should and shouldn't do before your next test. Just comment checklist below, and you'll find the link in the pinned comment. Now, let's dive into the 8 hidden habits that can quietly raise your PSA. Starting with number 8, the one most men do without even realizing it. Habit number 8, the heavy dinner mistake. Mike, 58, decided to reward himself the night before his PSA test. A thick steak, mashed potatoes, a glass of red wine, maybe even dessert. It felt like a normal evening, but the next morning, his PSA came back higher than expected. His doctor looked puzzled, then asked, "What did you have for dinner last night?" Most men don't realize this. A heavy, fatty meal can quietly influence your PSA reading. When your body digests a lot of fat and protein, it releases inflammatory chemicals into the bloodstream. Your liver and immune system work harder through the night, and that subtle inflammation can raise PSA temporarily, even if your prostate is perfectly healthy. It's not dangerous, but it can confuse the results. Your doctor might think your prostate is irritated or enlarged, when in reality, it's your dinner doing the talking. The fix is simple. The night before your test, keep your meal light and balanced. Something like grilled fish, steamed vegetables, or a bowl of soup. Skip the alcohol, fried food, and heavy desserts, and give your body at least 10 to 12 hours to rest before the test. Your prostate loves calm, not chaos. A light dinner means less inflammation, better sleep, and a more accurate result. So next time, trade the steak for salmon and let your body thank you in the morning. Coming up next is a habit that hides in plain sight. It's sitting right in your medicine cabinet, and it can raise your PSA without you knowing. Habit number 7, the booster trap. Dan, 61, had been feeling a little low on energy. Ads for natural testosterone boosters kept popping up on his phone, bottles promising strength, drive, and youth. He thought, it's natural, it can't hurt, and started taking them. A few weeks later, his PSA numbers jumped, and he couldn't figure out why. Here's what most men don't realize. Many of these so-called natural boosters affect your hormone balance. When testosterone levels shift, even slightly, the prostate can become more active. That activity leads to higher PSA production, not because something's wrong, but because the gland is simply responding to hormone signals. Common examples include supplements like Diachia, Tongkat Ali, Tribulus, or even herbal blends that claim to raise male vitality. While they might have benefits, they also temporarily change how your body regulates hormones and inflammation. The result? Your PSA can climb for a few days, even if your prostate is completely healthy, and that single change can lead to unnecessary worry or extra testing. The fix is easy. Pause any testosterone or vitality supplements for 2 or 3 days before your PSA test, unless your doctor says otherwise. This short break gives your body time to balance out, ensuring your result reflects reality, not a reaction. You don't have to give them up forever. Just use timing to your advantage. And speaking of timing, the next habit might surprise you even more. It has to do with that evening drink or cigarette that many men think doesn't matter. Habit number 6, the drink and smoke effect. Larry, 59, liked to unwind in the evenings. 1 glass of wine while watching TV, maybe a cigarette after dinner, a small reward after a long day. The night before his PSA test, he followed that same routine. The next morning, his numbers were higher, and he had no idea why. Most men think a drink or a quick smoke won't affect their PSA, but even small habits can have subtle effects on the body. Alcohol and nicotine both trigger inflammation and change how your blood flows. When you drink, your body dehydrates slightly, and your liver works harder to process the alcohol. That extra stress can cause small shifts in the proteins circulating in your blood, including PSA. Smoking has its own impact. Nicotine tightens blood vessels and increases cortisol, the stress hormone. That tension raises inflammation, not just in your lungs, but also around your prostate. These effects are temporary, but if you get tested too soon afterward, your PSA might appear higher than it truly is. The solution is simple. Avoid alcohol and cigarettes for at least 24 hours before your test. Even better, give your body 48 hours of clean rest with plenty of water and good sleep. Your body will thank you and your results will be clearer and more accurate. And if you think that's surprising, the next habit might shock you even more because it's something men do to stay healthy, but it can still make PSA jump overnight. Habit number 5, the cycling problem. Mark, 60, loves his bike. It keeps him fit, clears his mind, and helps him feel young again. So the day before his PSA test, he went for his usual 10-mile ride. The next morning, his PSA doubled, and his doctor immediately ordered a retest. Cycling is one of the healthiest habits you can have. But when it comes to PSA testing, it can give you misleading results. Here's why. The prostate sits just below the bladder, right where the bike seat applies pressure. Long rides or even short sessions on a hard saddle can irritate the gland, causing mild inflammation and a temporary PSA increase. Studies have shown that men who cycle the day before testing can see spikes of 10 to 20%, enough to make the number look alarming, even when the prostate is perfectly fine. This effect doesn't mean cycling is bad, it just means your prostate needs a short break before your test. So, avoid bike rides or any exercise that puts direct pressure on your lower pelvis for 48 hours before testing. That includes cycling, horseback riding, and even prolonged sitting on hard chairs. You can still stay active, take a walk, do light stretching, or lift light weights. Those activities keep you moving without irritating the prostate. Think of it as giving your body a little quiet time before it speaks. Your PSA will tell a clearer story when your prostate isn't under pressure. And speaking of pressure, the next habit is even more personal, something most men never connect to their PSA numbers. Habit number 4, the intimacy timing. This one surprises a lot of men, even the healthy, confident ones. Your PSA rise temporarily after sexual activity, especially if it happens within 48 hours before your test. Let's take David, 63. He felt great. No symptoms, no pain. But his PSA jumped almost 2 full points from last year. His doctor smiled and asked, "Were you intimate recently?" David looked a bit embarrassed and said, "Actually, yes, the night before my test." There was nothing wrong with his prostate. The increase came from normal physiology. Ejaculation makes the prostate contract, releasing more PSA into the bloodstream for a short time. That's how the body works. It's healthy, it's natural. The problem is timing. If you test too soon afterward, your PSA reading can look falsely high, making your doctor think something's wrong when it's not. Thankfully, it's easy to prevent. Avoid sexual activity for about 48 hours before your PSA test. That short window allows PSA levels to return to their normal baseline. This isn't about restriction, it's about accuracy. You're giving your body a calm moment to tell the truth. And once you understand how much timing matters, you'll see that a clear result isn't about luck, it's about preparation. So take it easy for a couple of days before your test. Your body and your peace of mind, we will thank you. And next, we'll look at another kind of timing. Not about intimacy, but about medical procedures that can confuse your PSA results even more. Habit number 3, the medical timing trap. Sometimes a high PSA number isn't about your lifestyle at all. It's about the timing of your last medical visit. Take Frank, 65. He had a routine physical where his doctor performed a rectal exam, and a week later he went in for his PSA test. When his result came back, his PSA had nearly doubled. Frank was alarmed. His doctor explained gently, "Your prostate is sensitive. Any recent exam, catheter, or infection can cause irritation." And she was right. Procedures like prostate massage, catheter use, cystoscopy, or even mild urinary infections can cause inflammation for days or even weeks. When the gland is irritated, it naturally releases more PSA, leading to a temporarily high result. The key here isn't panic, it's patience. If you've recently had any procedure involving the prostate, wait 4 to 6 weeks before getting tested. This gives the tissue time to heal and your PSA time to settle. It's also wise to mention any recent infections or antibiotics to your doctor before testing. That small detail helps them interpret your numbers correctly. Remember, your body doesn't reset instantly. Give it time and it'll speak more clearly. You don't need to overthink every test. Just time it right. And when you do, you'll avoid the emotional roller coaster that so many men experience. And speaking of timing, the next mistake happens not in the clinic, but before you even get there. It's a simple habit that most men overlook completely. Habit number 2, skipping doctor's prep. Sometimes the biggest mistakes come from the smallest details. Many men have done PSA tests for years. They know the drill. Go to the lab, get the blood drawn, wait for results. So when their doctor gives them a list of instructions, they skim through it or assume it's the same as last time. But here's what often happens. One man eats breakfast before his morning test. Another goes in after a long drive in heavy traffic. Someone else forgets to rest the night before. Each of these small choices can slightly shift PSA levels. Your doctor's instructions, whether it's fasting, avoiding certain medications, or testing at a specific time of day, are designed to give you consistency. PSA can vary naturally throughout the day, and when you add in stress, fatigue, or food, the numbers can easily swing. Following the prep list exactly isn't about being strict, it's about being smart. It keeps your results comparable year after year, so if your PSA changes, your doctor knows it's real, not random. Take 5 minutes the day before to review the instructions. Set a reminder, drink water, sleep early. These small steps save you from unnecessary worry later. Think of it like this. If you're checking your car's oil, you want the engine calm and cold, not running. Your body deserves the same respect. And now, we've reached number 1, the most underestimated habit of all. It has nothing to do with your diet, exercise, or supplements. It starts in your mind. Habit number 1, stress and sleeplessness. You can follow every rule. Eat right, rest your body, time your test perfectly. But if your mind is tense, your PSA can still rise. Stress and sleeplessness affect more than just how you feel. When you're anxious or short on rest, your body releases more cortisol, the stress hormone. It's your body's natural alarm system, helpful when you need to act fast, but harmful when it stays on too long. That surge of cortisol increases inflammation, tightens blood vessels, and changes how your body regulates hormones. It's subtle but powerful. Even one sleepless night can make your PSA read higher the next morning. Take James, 64. He spent the night before his test tossing and turning, worried about what the number might say. His result came back higher than expected. A week later, after a calm weekend and full rest, he retested, and the number dropped back to normal. The mind and body are deeply connected. When you stress, your prostate feels it too. The best thing you can do before a PSA test isn't just diet or timing. It's calm. Go to bed early, breathe deeply, avoid checking emails or watching the news before sleep. Give your body the rest it deserves. A quiet night brings a clearer morning and a truer result. Now that you know all 8 hidden habits, let's bring it all together so you can walk into your next PSA test calm, prepared, and confident. A high PSA doesn't always mean something serious. Most of the time, it's your body reacting to little things. A heavy meal, a late night, a workout, or even worry itself. Your prostate is sensitive, not fragile, just responsive. It listens to what you eat, how you rest, and how you live. And that means you have more control than you might think. When you give your body 48 hours of calm before your test, you're not just preparing for a number. You're helping your doctor see the real picture of your health. 2 quiet days. No pressure, no rushing, no guessing. Light meals, good sleep, a peaceful mind. That's all your prostate needs to tell the truth. So if your last test left you worried, don't panic. Review these habits first. Then take your next test the right way. Remember, your goal isn't just a lower PSA, it's an honest one. A number that reflects you at your best, not a random moment of stress or imbalance. And because you've stayed until the end, here's your free PSA prep checklist, a simple 1-page guide with everything we've talked about today. Just comment checklist below and you'll find it in the pinned comment. Stay calm, stay informed, and take care of yourself. Your body is always on your side. You just have to listen. Thank you for watching and for taking time to understand your health a little better today. Remember, awareness is power. When you know what affects your PSA, you can make small, smart changes that protect your peace of mind. Your prostate health isn't defined by a single number. It's shaped by the habits you build every day, what you eat, how you rest, and how you care for yourself. If this video helped you, give it a like and share it with someone who might need the same peace of mind. And when you're ready, watch the next video. 5 daily habits to naturally lower your PSA, backed by science. You'll learn simple things you can do each day to support your prostate, and they're easier than you might think. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you there.